attacked Port Arthur on the night of February 8, 1904, but failing to properly attack due to coastal artillery and the Russians' reluctance to leave the port. The Japanese Navy then tried to close the port by using mines, and their tactics proved to be quite effective, and the 2 Russian battleships sank when mines hit them at the exit of the harbour. The Russians adopted the Japanese mining tactics and began to use them for attacking purposes. The Japanese battleships Yashima and Hatsuse sank with just a few minutes, and 455 sailors on board were killed, and the Russian fleet was intercepted and turned back after the Battle of Yellow Sea. The Russian command sent a squadron of the Baltic Fleet to help besiege Port Arthur, but almost provoked a war with the British Empire during the Dogger Bank incident. This is a whole nother episode, we will do it, it's quite mental. But the Russian Navy was reduced after the Russo-Japanese War, and a new program of military shipbuilding began. The program was partially approved by the State Duma, the state parliament, in spring of 1908, but later the appropriations were reduced and the program was called the Distribution of Appropriations for Shipbuilding. The Bosnian crisis of 1909 raised the issue of expanding the fleet, and new battleships, cruisers and destroyers were ordered. The Russian Navy received approximately just over 1 billion rubles for new constructions between 1907 and 1914, of which 252 million rubles were actually spent on new warships. The fleet of Nicholas II paralleled the fleets of former Russian monarchs in that one Russian monarch built it up, while the successor let it rot at the docks. The fleet had a poor image in the pre-war period, and during the war, it also had one particularly embarrassing episode. The third-class cruiser Zhemchug was launched in 1903 and had a displacement of 3,106 tons, a beam of 41.5 feet, and a draft of 16 feet. She was armed with 8 4.7-inch quick-fire guns and could penetrate up to 9 inches of enemy armour at 2,000 yards. The Zhemchug was sent to Penang to hunt the Dresden-class cruiser Emden, but met with no success. The French destroyer Musket was patrolling the outer harbour while the Zhemchug and other French ships lay anchored in the inner harbour. The previous night, the captain of the Zhemchug had gone ashore to meet his mistress, and took the keys with him to the ship's store. A German raider resembling the Yarmouth steamed into the port, sank the Zhemchug with 1 torpedo. Cherkasov and Kublin were sacked for their poor response to the Emden's attacks, and Kublin was court-martialed for the loss of the ship and the inability of the ship's crew. The Russian fleet was once again shamed in Asian waters. The Russian fleet went into the First World War with innumerable cultural problems, some of which had plagued it from its birth. These problems were exacerbated by the cramped confinedness of iron-hulled warships, and in 1914 the Russian Navy also sourced most of its fuel from Britain because it was the cheapest source of quality coal. The decision to source coal from Britain was made due to economising, and the Navy just receiving 8.7% of military spending while the Army took the rest. The cycles of, decline left the Russian naval development stuttered and inconsistent, with each new having to reinvent the basics. This resulted in a poor quality seaman and lack of glorious tradition, which left room for revolutionary activities to grow. Now, the fleet had a problem rebuilding and replacing the sailors lost in the Battle of Tsushima, and this problem compounded the problem of declining morale. The Navy drew its stocks from coastal communities, so these people were skilled labour and required to maintain and operate heavy machinery. The Baltic Fleet's cruisers and destroyers laid 1,590 defensive mines in German waters between October 1914 and 1915, destroying 1 armoured cruiser, 3 minesweepers and at least 15 cargo ships. After the death of Essen, Cannon ordered the continuation of Essen's mining offensive, and he relied more heavily on cruisers. This new addition of mines claimed more German ships, totaling 42 warships and 26 cargo ships. The Russian mining operation against the German fleet was an impressive achievement, and especially considering that the Russians were outmatched by the possibility of superior German warships. The Russian intelligence service was also renowned for its abilities in espionage, and its Baltic Fleet intelligence broke German signalling codes. Under Admiral A.I. Nepinin, the intelligence service was used to gather information on enemy fleets, aircraft, etc. And in the Black Sea, the Russians faced a different scenario though. From the Baltic fleet, as their enemy was almost insignificant, the only danger was the German battlecruiser Goeben, masquerading as the Ottoman ship under the name Yavuz Sultan Selim. I hope I pronounced that correctly. However, the Yavuz Sultan Selim could do no harm to the Russians as long as the old battleships of the Black Sea Fleet operated as one mass unit. The Russian ships held their own and forced the enemy to retire every single time. In 1915, old battleships were permanently assigned to coastal bombardment of the Ottoman supply stations, and a possible plan to actually take over Constantinople, though this never went ahead because it was a bit mental. The rank of General Admiral, or General Admiral, was the highest ranking officer within the Imperial Russian Navy. It was usually given by Imperial appointment and usually had command over the entirety of the Navy. The rank insignia consisted of 3 Romanov eagles with a double-crossed marshal's baton above. The rank of Full Admiral, or Admiral, was the highest non-royal appointment that a naval officer could hold. This rank had the authority over a whole naval fleet, a department, a subdivision, or a position within the Ministry of the Navy. Famous holders include Kolchak and Kolomaitsev. The emblem included 3 Romanov eagles. The Vice Admiral, or Vice Admiral, was, well, a fleet commander, squadron or flotilla commander, or could serve in the top levels of administration, such as a commander of a naval base. The insignia consisted of 2 Romanov eagles. The Kontir Admiral, or Counter-Admiral, was, well, rarely used today. It's really only used by Russia and a few other countries, but it would resemble a Rear Admiral in that it would occupy a staff position, squadron command, or perhaps a naval base command, and the symbol featured a single eagle. The rank of Captain First Class, or Captain Novoranga, would sometimes be known as a full captain and would hold command over a single ship such as a cruiser or a submarine, and in some situations it may act as a de facto commodore and hold command over extra ships. The emblem consists of a blank gold and black shoulder board with 3 stripes. The Captain Second Class, or Captain Dvaranga, would hold command over specific departments, a department on the staff, or may hold a second-in-command officer position in a regular ship. The emblem consists of a blank gold and black shoulder board with 3 stripes and 3 stars. The Captain Lieutenant, or Captain Lieutenant, abolished in 1919, would well be a third-class captain and would act as a section commander aboard a ship, or may act as additional support for the line commanders aboard, hence the Captain Lieutenant. The emblem consists of a gold and black shoulder board with 2 stars. After 1911, the Senior Lieutenant, or Starship Lieutenant, took the same position as the Captain Lieutenant, and the rank insignia consisted of a black and gold blank shoulder board with 2 stripes. The Lieutenant, or, well, Lieutenant, would be responsible for overseeing a section on board a ship or acting as an aide to more senior officers. The emblem consisted of a blank gold and black shoulder board with 2 stripes and 3 stars. The Midshipman, or the Michman, was, well, a lower-ranking officer that would have minimal responsibilities aboard a ship apart from keeping the seamen in line and generally ensuring the ship would function on the lower levels. The emblem consists of a black and gold shoulder board with 2 stars after 1909 and only 1 before 1909. The Chief Petty Officer aboard the ship, or the Senior Boatswain, would, well, have different titles, and for this example we will again focus on the Senior Boatswain, whose role it was to ensure the deck departments were functioning smoothly, and similar to the Sergeant Major, the role would be a key line of communication between sailors and officers. The emblem consists of a blank shoulder board with a vertical gold stripe. The senior petty officers may hold the role of chief mate or conductor and would be ensuring that a smooth operation of daily functions would go ahead. The emblem consists of a black shoulder board with a horizontal gold stripe. The petty officer, or the boatswain and second mate, or other roles, were generally responsible for day-to-day supervision of a small section of seamen aboard the ship, such as, well, they may be gunners or carpenters' mates. The emblem consists of a black shoulder board with 3 horizontal gold stripes. The junior petty officer may hold the role of boatswain or third mate, and it doesn't hold much in the way of recognition, but it would be a supervisory role aboard a ship over a small section of sailors like all of its superiors. The emblem consists of a black shoulder board with 2 horizontal gold stripes. The The seaman first class held little responsible role, and much like the private first class, was supposed to distinguish a sailor who had served, or was at least ready to serve. It had no distinguishing insignia. The seaman second class was a complete rookie in terms of naval service and would be inferior to the first class, again holding no power aboard a ship. While I hope you enjoyed today's video as much as I enjoyed doing it, this is quite a long video I think. It's been a long time since I've done a video. I really apologise about the breaks, guys. It's uni work, I've got regular work, I've got a lot going on, but I will try and get at least one video out a month if I don't get one out every fortnightly. But with that, I really hope you enjoyed. Those who make it till the end, thank you. You really make this channel, but I'll see you guys in the next one.